Welcome back here with Money, 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 the equity market special. How to play this market when it is at all-time highs. What are the stocks? What are the funds that can multiply your wealth? We have a caller joining us on the line. I think we have Akhil Kumar joining in. He's a Bengaluru resident. Hi, Akhil.
Yeah, ma'am. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is, I would like to invest in mutual fund. Okay, I'm just beginner.
Okay.
As of now, no tax exemption for me, and I'm just 22 years old.
Okay. You started young. That's great.
5,000. Sorry?
Okay, so 5,000 per month is what you're looking at investing. Well, one of our experts has already given you 5 fund ideas. Now we'll toss this to the next expert. So Kalpesh, he's a young person, 22. He's just starting out. What are the specific funds you'd advise him, and overall your top 5 for this market?
Okay, so first of all, congratulations to him for starting so early. The first thing which I would like to tell him is that set a goal for this fund. You'll be more focused. And I think 5,000 not being a very big amount, I think the first steps should be tread with caution. So he could probably divide this amount between 2 funds and have a large cap fund, which is probably a Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity Fund, and a balanced fund, which is ICICI Prudential Balanced Advantage Fund. So with these 2 funds, probably he could make a foray into the mutual fund space and do it regularly with discipline.
Okay, so those are specific funds for him. Are these also on your top 5 list? What does that list look like?
Yeah,
okay.
Okay. So the way I have put my top 5 fund category is that I have put 2 multi-cap funds. I have put 1 mid-cap fund, 1 small cap, and to probably hedge the risk which is in the top 4 funds with a balanced fund. So the 2 multi-cap funds which I have put are of diverse natures. So one is the ICICI Prudential Value Discovery Fund, which is probably by the corpus size today around 16,000 crore. And it is one of those unique funds where the fund manager, I think for a long time now, has been taking quite contrarian calls.
Okay.
And he's not been chasing growth. And it's to his credit that the calls have been coming out right. So ICICI Prudential Value Discovery, as a matter of fact, is a fund which is almost 16,000 crore. And being a multi-cap fund, it has the leeway to shift between the mid-cap and the large-cap category. And so far, probably, if I'm not mistaken, last 2 years, it's been sitting heavy on the large-cap space. So it's got almost an 80% presence in the large-cap stocks and 20% in the mid-cap stocks.
Okay, so now fund number 2 and 3 for Kalpesh, actually there's an overlap. So both our experts are agreeing on these next 2 funds. You've also picked up Birla Sun Life Equity and DSP BlackRock Small and Mid Cap, the same funds that Hemant picked out. Why do you like these 2?
Yeah, so exactly the opposite of the ICICI Prudential Value Discovery in the same category is the Birla Sun Life Equity. And that's got a corpus of around 4,000 crore. So it's a very decent medium-sized corpus. And I think Hemant has already highlighted the virtues of that fund. It's again a fund which is a little bit of deviant from the value discovery, which is it runs on the growth philosophy of investment. So it chases the momentum thing. Also, certain value stocks are imbibed in it. The large cap component also is 67%, bit lesser than value discovery there, and 33% in mid cap. So I've taken a little bit of a diverse nature of multi-cap categories with a predominantly large cap exposure.
Okay.
The third fund, which is the DSP BlackRock Small and Mid Cap, I think it's due credit to the, I would say, the distant cousin of this fund, which is the most famous, I think everyone knows about it, is the DSP Micro Cap Fund. But because of the fund size of that fund, which has now stopped taking subscription, it is now the funds more or less are the same reflection in the DSP Small and Mid Cap Fund.
Okay.
So, but still this remains more of a mid cap dominant fund. The fund manager, to his credit, has managed this brilliantly.
And while past returns obviously have been phenomenal, I mean, what should an investor keep in mind from the risk-reward standpoint, so particularly for the mid and small cap funds?
Yeah, so for the mid and small cap fund, I think it's in the hands of the investor. It's his allocation to that funds which determines his risk. So he should not be too gung-ho about the entire thing and balance his portfolio.
Sure.
Because where he needs to take a risk, he should go all hands down and take a risk into it. But the main feature of this fund is, I would say, the credibility of the fund manager who has managed this fund since 2012. And one more thing, Surabhi, which I've done is in all these 5 funds which we've highlighted here, all the fund have been in existence for last 5 years.
Sure.
And all the fund managers have been managing these funds for 5 years.
So I mean, a decent sort of history and track
Exactly.
record.
Yeah.
Quickly, the last two funds that you like.
Okay, so the fund after that is, I think, one step below that, or I think higher than that, is the Reliance Small Cap Fund. And that is a pure risk taker. So if you see that portfolio, it's got almost 63% in small cap,
Wow.
around 30% in mid caps. So it's a very, I would say, risky fund. But again, if you see the track record, although track record need not go by when we select a fund, it's managed the negative periods of 2011 and 13 quite well. And it also is managed by one of the front leading fund managers of our country.
Sure.
So it's got a good pedigree.
Okay.
And in our portfolio, I've given it around 20% allocation along with the small and mid cap DSP fund.
And just to be a little safe, you've also thrown in a balanced fund in your top 5.
Exactly. So
what sort of returns would you expect from it?
So a balanced fund, I would be happy with a decent 12 to 13% type of a return, probably having a large cap exposure. And for that, I have kept ICICI Prudential Balanced Advantage Fund, which also has a leeway to go into derivatives, arbitrage, and the equity segment. And it works by the price to book value ratio valuation. So probably they do the rebalancing on a daily basis.
Okay.
So whenever there is an equity which is high, they
Sure.
sell.
Sure.
And whenever the equity valuation is low, they buy.
Okay.
And the debt component in it,
Sure.
unlike some other funds, they have a very decent mix of duration and accrual.
So, Prakash, obviously people have been listening to advice like this throughout the year because it's all of these funds and all the money that they've been pouring into the stock market. Do you have any preferred fund managers or any preferred styles? I know you don't look at mutual funds, you do it the more direct, exciting way. But just any thoughts if you would like any sort of investment styles?
No, I think what both of them mentioned about the DSP, small and mid cap, just as an illustration, you know, the performance of some of these mid-cap, micro-cap, small-cap funds has been so stellar that at times I really wonder the effort that we put in identifying stocks, whether that's redundant. And then with 45% kind of return in 4 or 5 years CAGR, it's remarkable. So I think the fund industry has done a great job in terms of de-risking people from the equity side, asset allocation side, and they've taken on the entire burden of managing the volatility with the FI inflows and outflows. You know, if the DOMs weren't active and so big, thanks to people listening to you, we probably wouldn't have been, so gung-ho about whatever sweep that we are talking about.
Okay, we'll need to take a very quick break. But on the other side, if you have the risk appetite and you want to get into this market via stocks, Prakash has 3 interesting bets for you.